Welcome to Center Ground, your home for unfiltered discussion, where we tackle today's most talked about topics, break down current events, and give our take on the internet's latest foolishness. Tune in and let's find some common ground. Let's get this party started. Welcome back to the Center Ground podcast. I am your host, Bootsy. Back with another reaction video. So I had to take a few days off. Your boy was going through it. So I had to take some time. And I'll just say this. If you have any issues in life, man, learn to take some time if you can. Or even if you don't have a lot of time, go in the bathroom, do something. Pray, meditate. Just take a break if you need to. Because I swear this stress thing could kill you. So I've been going through it. And I've been trying my little entrepreneurial thing. And when I tell you, I've been getting hit after hit after hit, and I'm talking about day after day after day. I want to give up, but you got to keep going. And that's one thing I'm learning from this terrible series of events that I've just gone through. You got to learn to keep fighting. You got to learn to keep going. So I figured I'd keep it lighter as I'm trying to make my way back to making videos. But I came across this one. I saw the article when I was going through it, and I just thought it was fake. It's like, no way is somebody admitting fault at 63 years old, but I guess it's possible. Thought it was a fake story. And I see people starting to talk about it. So I'm like, let me jump in the mix a little bit. I see, I regret belittling men at 63. I've ended up alone. It's like, duh. What do you think belittling people is going to do for you in a long-term relationship? But this video is by Peace World. He's reacting, and I guess I'm reacting to a reaction as I normally do, but I'm curious to see how this goes. Something tells me, yes, she's going to have regret, but she's probably not going to hold herself 100% accountable. If she does, I would be extremely shocked, but most people don't do that. So we'll see how this goes. Let me pop this off at full screen and let's get this started.
I have for you a story of feminist regret that is so perfect, you're going to think I'm making it up. It has everything. Absolutely everything that the ridiculous men were saying would come about to women as they got older.
Before he continues, I want to listen to the whole thing. I'm trying to not interrupt as much, but I be catching stuff in real time. So just today, there was a post on one of these groups, and it was talking about how like women don't listen to the men around them, and it hurts them kind of thing. And I made a comment like, it's kind of weird that women don't learn from the mistakes of other women, the past, and they don't listen to how men feel about certain things, but then they want those same men. It makes no real sense. And some young lady turned around and instantly was like, we don't care what y'all think. And it wouldn't surprise me if that young woman has the same spirit as this old woman. And it's sad because it's like you're trying to help them. Like, hey, if you want a man, you should probably listen to men and what men like and what men want. And they don't want to do it. So I'm curious to see how this goes.
And it is all contained in this. And honestly, I mean, it's so perfect. I'm wondering if I'm being pranked. But this is in the iPaper, this, left-wing rag, obviously. And this is Kate Mulvaney. And she explains to us the course and trajectory of her life and how exactly she ended up alone. And in her mind, it was because she belittled men. She says, at 63, I've ended up alone. I'd always imagined I'd end up married with 2 wonderful children living in a house in the countryside. I've paid a hefty price for my so-called liberation.
Forget the liberation. How in the hell do you expect to have a successful marriage with kids, healthy kids that understand boundaries and how relationships work, if you go around belittling people? There's no way these people are there's no way these people are so unaware of themselves that it takes them almost 63 years to figure it out. Like, that's scary to me that you didn't know that you shouldn't belittle the person that you're with. You can disagree with people. You can correct people. But belittling? Like, come on. And it's like, it wouldn't surprise me if she blames it on other people. Like, I know that like feminists tend to believe that they're better than some men and don't think they have to listen to men and things like that. But belittling?
Right. So feminism entirely was wrong. about what you wanted out of your life. I mean, if you'd always imagined that you'd end up married with 2 children and living in a house in the countryside with your husband, what about that is feminist?
Yeah, and it's weird because modern day feminist goes completely against marriage and taking care of your family and taking care of your husband. It's very strange. They're for ending babies. That's one of the things that they stand on. They're for doing it on your own. They're for being independent. These are destructive things, yet it's what they promote. And people need to recognize just because it sounds good in your ear doesn't mean it'll be good for you. I tell you, just because something does not sound good for you doesn't mean it's bad for you. Have you ever taken medicine? Some of it is absolutely disgusting, and I'm convinced the worse it tastes, the better it is for you long term. Now, I'm not talking about these pharmaceutical craps. I'm talking about natural remedies. But you get my point.
Like, that seems to be the very opposite of feminism, doesn't it?
I think a lot of women out there, they have an idea of what they want in their head and they think it's just going to happen. It's just going to like fall into their hands. So even though you're a feminist and you hate men or whatever the case is, a lot of these women still have this idea that one day it's just going to click for them and their partner's going to fall from the sky and they're just going to get the life that they want, which obviously isn't the case.
It seems to be the very opposite of what
I agree with him there, and it's commonplace when you look online. So many people who wait. First of all, a lot of modern day feminists love telling young women to wait. I don't know what that's about, but they love telling them to wait, like until they get old, which makes it harder. But a lot of them wait and then they feel like it's just going to drop into their lap. Like this great man is just going to pop up. And well, I have Ciara's prayer. Ciara got lucky. And you're not Ciara. There's no nice way to say that. Even if you were, the chances of it happening multiple times to multiple women all over the world is slim to none. Why are you relying on that? Y'all should be working adamantly to find a suitable person from a young age. Stop waiting. Things are not going to fall into your lap. As a young man, we teach young men, no one's going to come save you. We need to start teaching that to our young girls.
feminism was promising, which you add at the end, is liberation. So, I mean, all I'm saying is, shouldn't you be angry at the people who sold you down the river on this? And I like the fact that you're warning younger women. By the way, this will be you. This will be your future if you follow the trajectory I've followed. She gives a really interesting story.
And I think when we hear about people who are divorced, when we hear about people who didn't make it, when we hear about people who just struggled in life and failed, I think these are the right people to listen to when they talk about those failures. Are they necessarily the right people to give you advice? Maybe not, unless they learned from those mistakes. They might not even get the reward after learning, but if they learn from those mistakes, then yeah, I think you should lend your ear to them if they're trying to help. What I reject is when you have so many women who are still single at 50 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, giving young girls advice that don't work. It didn't work for them, yet they're promoting it like it's gospel. That I can't stand.
Really interesting. A few years ago, she's on holiday with a then boyfriend in Italy, and she speaks Italian. She did French and Italian for her higher education. And so she sat there talking to the waiter in Italian, while her boyfriend, who obviously doesn't speak Italian, is just sat there being bored. And back in the hotel room, he asked why I had ignored him. By speaking in a language he didn't understand, he said I'd managed to make him feel small. I could see his point. I spent quite a while chatting away, oblivious to how he must be feeling. Then I went on to joke that as the Italian speaker I would order for us. After all, he didn't know what osso buco meant. I was showing off. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened to me. I've always taken the driving seat.
It ain't about taking the driving seat. So just from that story, look at you laughing. Just from that story, you hear that she's inconsiderate. It's not the worst thing in the world for you to be ignored when someone's out talking, especially if you're in a large group, to kind of ignore you because you're kind of trying to work the table and talk to everybody or whatever. That makes sense. But when you're in a one-on-one setting, like, first of all, how you ignore your date to talk to the waiter because y'all knew the same language? First of all, that's disrespectful. That y'all could have been hollering at each other and he's just sitting there looking at y'all. I got a friend who his wife does that. Like, she speaks Spanish in front of most of us when most of us don't speak Spanish. And it seems like she's talking about us, even if she's not. Now, don't get me wrong. I know a little bit of Spanish, right? So I know half the times what they're talking about, or I get pieces of it. But it's not that she's talking about us, but it's the feel of it. So the fact that this lady and it's bad when she does it. That was my point. right? And it creates problems. Even some of us in the friend group look at it like, yo, why is she talking in Spanish when we all speak English? Like, she could be saying crazy things about us, but that's neither here nor there. This is crazy. You're on a date and you ignore your date. Not only do you ignore your date, you're speaking in another language. Not only are you speaking in another language while you're on a date, ignoring your date, you're doing it with another man, which is extremely disrespectful. And she don't understand why she's single. And it's crazy to me how much of them do crazy things and don't understand why nobody liked them. But let's continue.
You're ordering for me. Just if I can't understand what's on the menu, relay it to me, and I'll relay back to you what I want, and then you can order like.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hold on. She ordered for him. So she emasculated him by ordering for him and by talking to another man in his presence while they were on a date. Yeah, that definitely wasn't going to work. Like, don't get me wrong. My wife knows other languages. I remember we went to a Turkish restaurant and I couldn't read the menu because it was in Turkish. That's how you say it, right? I think it's in Turkish. And she read the menu to me and told me what was on the menu. And then, of course, I told her what I wanted and she relayed it to the waiter. Like, why couldn't she do that? Like, it seemed like this lady was just messed up in more ways than one. Let's continue. This is interesting.
That. You are here just taking the lead. Listen. They're literally men. This is crazy.
Determined to get the last.
That's another theory I have, that they want to be men, which might be why they glorify all things that men are historically supposed to do for women. They try to obtain those same things and then also think it will make men want them, which is dumb because that's what women want, not men. But then that also goes back to me, what I said earlier, where women don't listen to men. And if they did, they would know that's not what we want. So it's like they run around in circles. It's like a cat chasing its tail.
Word and was too busy with books to master the art of charm. I'm convinced that the reason I'm still booking a table for one at the age of 63 instead of having settled with a significant other is because, like so many women of my generation, feminism has ruined my love life.
So here she goes, shifting blame. She has shown poor behavior. I don't know if she got that from feminism. Maybe her mother, who might have been a feminist, but it's like she just has poor behavior. Like, why can't people just admit that they suck sometimes? Like, she's blaming it on feminism. Like, feminism has its issues, but I don't think this stems from feminism. And you heard the terminology. Now, this terminology comes from feminism, but she said she settled. Why couldn't I just settle for a relationship? Yeah, here it goes. Instead of having settled with a significant, settle with a significant other. Oh, never mind, I'm wrong. I thought she was saying settle for a significant other. See, this is why you got to read. This is why you got to read for yourself.
We told you so. I don't want to be mean about this. I don't want to rub it in, right? This person is having a moment, an epiphany, where they realize, oh wait, I was lied to my whole life, and it made me into the kind of person who was actually really unpleasant, and I really regret becoming that unpleasant person. And so feminism has ruined my love life. Feminism denied her the husband she wanted, the children she wanted, the grandchildren she wanted. Feminism did this to her. And again, like, this is just so word for word perfect. Like, this is the sort of thing you'd expect to see, like, a manosphere guy write on Reddit, that posing as an old woman, saying, yeah, feminism ruined my love life because they want to attack feminism. But this is not the case. This is an established feminist author. She's had a successful career as a writer and broadcaster, but regrets never having children or being married. Well, because feminism ruined your love life.
Now, that's saying something, because if she's a feminist author and writer, that means she relies heavily on women buying that BS. So, not saying that feminism is completely BS. What I'm saying is, whatever she's selling, she needs them to buy that BS. And if you know anything about writers, sometimes they throw in some BS in there to make the audience feel good, so that they can continue buying their books, articles, whatever. So she's actually putting herself on the line by even writing this article. I am curious to see if there's going to be any blowback. That is interesting. That makes this okay. Now I got my attention now. All right, now hold on.
Because literally, that thing that you took on as a religion has ruined your life. Instead of empowering us, those ideals of the second wave feminists made us believe that marriage and domesticity were to be avoided like the plague and that men were competition rather than partners. Well, this sounds like an...
The feminists will always say they're really good for the GDP. Really, really good. They're built to compete with men, not be compatible.
Which again is foolish. Men don't want to compete with their girlfriends. They want to compete against other men. If you out here competing with your boyfriend, your husband, you're going to mess up your relationship. Please stop doing that. Don't get me wrong. There are certain things you can compete with them in, especially if they are competitive. Like, I'm a competitive guy, and my wife got into Mortal Kombat years ago. We don't play anymore. This is back like Mortal Kombat 10, right? Yo, we used to play it on the regular. We stopped because we had kids and they can't see none of that stuff. But it's like we used to play back and forth all the time. So I like that level of competition. Now, if my wife is trying to compete with me on the job, if she's trying to compete with me with lifting weights, if she's trying to do manly things, and I'm like, yo, stop. Like, I don't want to compete with you on that. It could really tarnish the relationship. It's like, I never understood why they want to compete on the traditional male roles while also claiming there shouldn't be traditional roles. But you're clearly like aspiring to be the best of that traditional role that you're now telling me I shouldn't be partaking in. Like, it's very strange.
Like this. This is them and men. Whilst in the back of their mind having this dream of having a family and a relationship.
Makes no
Can't
sense.
help it.
MRA wrote it, like in 2014. And this is crazy how just open she is about how this has been bad for people. I might have a successful career as a writer or broadcaster, but I've never had children or been married, and my longest relationship lasted 8 years. I regret this. I always imagined...
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Why this man didn't edit that out the video? why you didn't edit that out the video, my boy?
I regret this. I had always imagined that I would end up married with 2 wonderful children living in a house in the countryside. I have paid a hefty price for my so-called liberation. And then she tells us how this all came about. And when you think about it, why were we permitting this? Why were we permitting this?
Forget permitting it, because people can do whatever they want, right? And that's what I'm learning. You can't fight people. Let them do what they want. Then when they fail, don't help them. Like, don't help them, because it's like, I told you, I warned you, you're on your own now. But forget permitting it. The question is, if you know you wanted goal A, why are you doing everything to fight getting goal A? That's like saying, hey, I want a corporate job that requires a degree, and you're like, I'm going to drop out of college. Like, it don't make sense. Even if you hate college, you still need the college to get the degree, or you have to find alternative ways to getting into the organization and showing yourself worthy. Because there's also, people don't know this, but you don't need a degree to get a corporate job. If you can get inside of that program or organization and then work your way up and show your worth, you can build yourself up that way. It might be hard for you to get another job. You might be stuck at that job for life, but there are ways, right? So I don't get why she didn't just find another route to success to get those 2 kids and the backyard fence and all that nonsense. But I don't know, like, she moves foolishly.
Ideology to be pumped into the soft heads of teenagers, as Yuri Bezmenov would say. And she literally tells us at 17, I was a pupil at Godolphin and Latimer, one of Britain's most academic institutions, when I was introduced to the women's liberation movement. It offered such hope and excitement. We spent our lunch breaks soaking up the feminist mantras of Germaine Greer and Betty Friedan. Act like men, they cried as they burnt their bras and demonized housework in the family. Well,
I'm going to say this. It sounded like she mentioned a male name. So it's like, you listen, yo, men who do that. Oh, Jermaine, I don't know if that's a man. That could be a woman too, but most likely a man. Men like that promote foolishness within women because they know what women want to hear and they sell you a dream. They're no different from F-boys. Steve Harvey is a glorified F-boy. He knew he was going to be able to sell women a dream, and then it worked. And now look at how many women had destroyed their relationships listening to a quote unquote guru. just because he was a man. That's why I tell women, y'all need to find a man that does not have a stake in the game, that does not benefit. So he's not selling you a course, he's not selling you a book, he's not selling you anything, but he genuinely wants to help. Ask that man for advice. Also make sure he's not trying to hit, because if he's trying to hit, you gotta be careful because he might try to manipulate you. So yeah, there's that. But like, I would never understand why women listen to this bad advice, and it's like so clear that it's bad advice. But then again, if they don't learn what men want, how you gonna act like a man but you don't really, well, act like a man is just what they already think a man is. So never mind, I'm about to confuse my own self, but this is dumb.
Men don't demonize housework in the family. Men, especially not the family. I mean, I don't enjoy doing housework. I don't do all that much housework, thank goodness, but that's because I'm the breadwinner for my family and my wife doesn't have to have a job, and so the housework is done by her mostly. I do some, obviously, when something needs doing or whatever. But the family is a cooperative unit. Like, why would you demonize the best thing that you'll have in your life?
The family should be a cooperative unit. And what I find most hilarious is like the women who don't want to contribute. They just want the stuff handed to them. Like, I am the table types, or I can't go 50-50 with a man. I'd rather go 100 by myself. Like, some of those people are so dumb. Like, just stay away from them, because they're so dumb that they can destroy. And you got to learn that there's some people who are kind of slow but don't mean any harm, and then there's people who are so dumb they don't understand that they're dumb, and they destroy with their foolish ideology. And it's like Dunning-Kruger. I guess it is Dunning-Kruger, but it's like those people are very destructive.
And at the end of it, you're just like, you know what, kind of regretting I didn't have a family, because I think really what people actually want is to belong. They just want to feel like they belong somewhere. And there's nowhere more firm that you belong than with your family. And that's the tightest form of belonging. That is the nexus of the smallest unit of.
When I think about this and I tie it back to black people, it's so clear how this rhetoric was used to destroy the black family unit. So clear.
What's not clear is how it was clearly used to destroy us, yet there's some of us who still partake in it, but I'll let him continue.
Anti-family, anti-relationship, don't need a man, but you're still having kids. You know, at least this woman didn't become a single mom. And the reason why they allowed this rhetoric to be pushed is because of
She didn't become a single mom because nobody wanted her. Like, yo, she was doing wild stuff, boy.
money. They realized, what the hell? Women are just as capable as men. And they've been staying at home for all these years. That's like double the money we could be making. We need to get them into work.
I'll give a different, possibly more polished response to what he just said. So it's been said that the feminist movement was funded by the rich elite who wanted women in the workplace so they can lower wages. It's a long-term, really interesting plan that seems to have worked. It's not that they saw that women were capable of working. They always knew women were capable of working. If you learn history, if you know history, you know that women have always worked. It's just that women didn't do the physical, harsh labor jobs, which at the time is what made America America. Right? America had an industrial age and an agricultural age. We're now in the tech age where women can do a job from the comfort of an AC filled office, which is easy. A lot of people get paid a lot of money to talk and think. They don't do labor anymore. So it's easy, which is why so many women flock to corporate jobs. So many lazy men flock to corporate jobs. Of course, they also pay higher, so there's that. But these are the reasons why people flock to those jobs. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It's not that they realized that women were capable of working, because women were always capable of working. Even with the physical jobs, women still had those jobs. There were female coal miners, right? So we got to stop using that rhetoric like women just didn't have jobs and women didn't work. That's not 100% true.
Feminism.
A little platoon, as Burke would put it, which then radiates outwards into your neighborhood, your community, and your country. And the idea that you should be like, oh yeah, I want to be taken out of that, actually. I want to be removed from that. And in fact, turned into the kind of person who can't generate that. So I end up alone and not actually having any of the things that the family brings you. That's an evil thing. This is just an evil thing that these women have done to her. And we just allowed it. We just allowed this attack on the family. By the time I was 25, clutching a degree in French and Italian, I was a bright, confident feminist, keen to flex her intellectual muscles and never let a man get the last word. What's the point? What's the point? I read Nietzsche for fun, and my bedside table is always buckled under the weight of substantial, intellectually challenging books.
I take back what I said earlier. I felt like she's blaming. I kind of take it back. So I feel like she's blaming feminists to avoid blaming herself. But I see what she's saying. The influence of feminism is probably why she behaved the way she behaved. Because just looking at her, she's insufferable. Imagine you're trying to love this woman and she's trying to correct you. You're trying to build with her and she's trying to tell you where you do things wrong all the time. And there's a lot of women who are like that. I don't know if it's because of the way that they were treated when they were children, or if it is because of the way that feminism is taught to young girls. But like, goodness gracious, it's like, imagine being stuck around that type of person. It's horrible.
At first, men loved my wit and intelligence. You're such a breath of fresh air. I love talking to you. You're the first woman I've met who stimulates me. What did you learn from Nietzsche, just out of interest? I'm very curious what your takeaway from Nietzsche was. Just saying. That was until I'd lectured them for the umpteenth time on the virtues of modernism. You'll never win an argument against Kate, one man said as he watched me outsmart yet another potential lover. Subtext, don't bother.
And I'm going to throw this out there. I think women have to stop looking at things as wins. That's not a win. And one thing I've learned about most men do not want to argue with women. That's not really what they want to do. So men will concede an argument just to shut you up. You have to understand that. I might go back and forth with you for a little bit, and then eventually I'm going to go, you got it. That doesn't mean you're correct. It doesn't. It just means I'm tired and I want to curse you out. Like, that's what it really means. So I don't, like, women got to stop looking at it from that perspective. I think this happens a lot when women don't have brothers. It wouldn't surprise me if she didn't have brothers or older brothers, because you learn rather quickly that just because I stopped talking doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you won the fight. It just means I can't deal with you anymore.
Well, I mean, I could make a lot of arguments against the virtues of modernism, highlighting its vices. In fact, you are the victim of one of its vices, this eternal quest for the so-called liberation. I don't think it is liberating, actually. I think this is actually what we did to punish people. We called it exile, and now you are living in a self-imposed exile from belonging to a family. What a terrible
Yo, that is an absolute great point. It wouldn't surprise me if this guy's a writer himself or an avid reader. So if you know anything about history, you understand that exile, as he put it, was also known as ostracization. And that's when your whole community abandons you. They ostracize you. That's the last thing you want as a human being. First of all, we as human beings, we require connection. Forget what people say. Like me, I like being by myself, but at the end of the day, I still prefer a certain level of connection. I don't need it from everybody, obviously, but I do need it from family, loved ones, friends, right? And that's how most people are. So what happens is, in some communities to this day, still use this as a method of punishment. You don't agree with the group, we kick you out the group. You're still a part of the group, but we don't acknowledge you. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I wish black people would do this to the worst of us instead of celebrating the worst of us. I think like people like Sukiana and Sexy Red should not exist. Like, obviously, those people are being sold to us by people who run hip hop who aren't a part of our racial group. But why do black people then promote those same destructive people simply because they make money? That's always been my gripe with my own people. Just throwing that out there. I don't hate none of these people. I get why they do what they do. But what I don't understand is why we celebrate them when we know it's bad for us. The same way he's arguing, why did all of these women celebrate feminism when it was clearly ostracizing you from a bigger community called family? And because you didn't do it, now you're 63 and it's impossible for you to have it now. At least in the natural order. And it sucks. It's nice that she learned her lesson, but it's like, why couldn't you learn this 30, 40 years ago? And it's like, sheesh, you probably deprived the world of, the offspring of two parents who loved each other, who connected. You could have created two children who then went out and built their own family to make the world better. But instead, you listened to what tickled your ear and it destroyed. But this is the tangle web we weave.
thing. Men have called me intimidating, scary, and opinionated. I see now that I was only trying to prove I was their intellectual equal or superior. I was treating every encounter with a man like he was my adversary.
Look, I'm going to leave the...
Before P says his piece, this reminds me of what Fatty said on the the Lapif Network, where he said, if you're gonna keep treating me like your enemy, I can be like your enemy too. And he said it to that jazz chick. I don't really like her.
Like, you're treating me like I'm your enemy. If you want me to be your enemy, I can cosplay like it.
But this reminds me of that. Like, some women act like men are their enemy because some other woman or some feminist male told them that men are the enemy. And it's like, yo, you might have some male enemies. You might have some men who are terrible, but most men are not your enemy. So if you start treating me like I'm horrible, if you start treating me like I'm an adversary, make no mistake, it won't end well.
Article, the actual article in the description. He made a video on YouTube. I just can't find it. So I'm going to leave the link to his TikTok in the description as well. It's also on the screen, if you guys can see on the screen as well. We always speak about the feminist inferiority complex. They view men as superior, so they have to fight and compete to be like men. They want to desperately be like men. And if they can be better than men, oh, well, big win, right? But look, this is the future for a lot of feminists. A lot of them will say they'll rather be.
And that's a big mistake. If you look at it, I agree wholeheartedly what he said there. Some women only do things so they can say that they're better than their male counterparts. Like, think about college. So many women are getting college degrees that are utterly useless just to say they have it. So they can then point to the men that don't have it and say, well, I'm better than you. I don't think that's the only reason they do it, but I do believe that it's a contributing factor. And the crazy part is most men don't care. Like, we don't care about your degree. And here's the other thing. Like, I've seen women who are in debt brag about their degree. Like, you can't even pay your bills, but you got a useless degree in a career field that you can't obtain, while you're making fun of the garbage man or the plumber who, quite frankly, if he plays his cards right, can build his own business without having all of that debt. So he already got an advantage over you if he plays his cards right. And what's crazy is we got the internet now. You can learn anything on the internet. Anything. Now this is coming from a guy who has degrees. I'm not one of those people who's like, well, I don't have a degree, so degrees suck. No, I have 3 degrees and they all suck. I'm telling you right now. So it's like, I don't get that mentality, and it's not helping anyone, yet people keep doing it.
This woman than be a single mom, for example. And I say, you know what, yeah, that's fair. You know, if that's your only 2 outcomes, I would say, yeah, be alone. I think that's better. But for the regular women out there, this is what I'd say. There are some things about feminism that I like. I agree with, obviously. There are some things that you should take from it, but not the whole thing. The whole thing, there's so much bullshit in there. Take the logical parts, leave the other parts. Balance. Something that, for whatever reason, these women just can't grasp. The idea that you can have your independence whilst also having a family. They couldn't get that. It had to be one or the other.
Yeah, it's like dealing with a child, right? They have to have it one way or the other. It's the extremes. It's the problem with Democrats and Republicans. They can't agree on anything because they believe in extremes. It has to be one way or it has to be the other way. This is the main reason why I called this channel Center Ground. Because I think if we can come to a center common ground, you can fix a lot of the world's problems. And I agree with what he said. It's like a lot of these women didn't view it that way. They viewed it as one or the other. I want to be 100% taken care of, or I'm going to 100% take care of myself. That's what I said earlier. That's stupid. It really, really is. And quite frankly, again, when women act like this, men should see that and understand, let's stay away from those type of women because they're destructive. But again, the ideology in and of itself is foolish. And we need to learn how slow and how dumb we are in order to fix it. And by doing that, somebody got to tell them. I'm going to be that person. I be pissing people off. I'm telling them, like, that's dumb.
Dudes can be as vulnerable as they want. You see dudes cry over the championships that their team won that they didn't even play in. Men can cry, men can feel, men do cry. Dudes, we'll go out to a bar, have a couple of glasses of scotch, a cigar, and reminisce, catch up, cry. Love you, bro. Hey, stay up, man.
I ain't gonna hold you. That's usually when you see dudes cry. They be getting drunk and be like, yo, I love you, man. Like, yo, shut up. Yo, one of my boys always telling us how much he loves us every time he start drinking. He don't even gotta be drunk. He just need a little sip. He like, yo, I love y'all. Like, yo, shut up. But he's right. Like, men can communicate. Men can cry. We just don't do it with women. Why? Because women weaponize it. If a man cries and you use it against him later in an argument, he's never going to open up to you emotionally ever again. It's logic, right? Now, if a man did it with another man and that man used it against him, guess what? He wouldn't do it again either. So people got to learn. And the reason why men don't open up to women is because women have this weird vision of men and what men can and can't do. And the minute men do things like cry, some women view those men as less than. It's bad enough that they already think those men are weak if they don't have a certain job or make a certain amount of money or a certain height. Because that height thing bugs me out. Like, short people can't fight. Like, oh, I need a 6-foot person to protect me. Short people can fight, dummy. But yeah, like he said, a lot of men can do things they choose not to. And they choose not to because you as a woman don't fit the bill. Or they've been through so much crap, they just turned it off and said, nah, no more.
That's not how y'all do it. How dare you all tell us we have to feel in a way that is okay for you, but refuse to accept the way we feel and the way we show our feelings? And moreover, who says we have to show it the way you want to see it?
Damn, he said moreover. Yo, this brother educated. But I said this to my wife years and years ago. Just because it's not your way doesn't mean it's not correct. Now, you got to remember, we've been together for a very long time. So when we were young, so we were still teaching each other a bunch of things. And it's like, I still hold this to this day. Just because it's not my way doesn't mean it's incorrect. It's just not my way. Now, here's the thing. I do certain things my way. And if I do it my way, it's typically fast and efficient and it's done correctly. If somebody else has to do it for me, I can't hold them to that standard because I work differently because it's for me, right? I hire contractors. My contractors can't work as long hours as I work. They won't sacrifice like I sacrifice. They won't do it how I would do it. Why? Because it's mine. I have to make sure it's right. They have to make it look good enough that it'll pass inspection by someone like me. So it's like, that's why, it's wrong for you to think that something's wrong simply because you don't like it. Now, if it's destructive, that makes more sense. But yeah, a lot of women believe that because something's not their way, it's incorrect. And that's one thing I've learned about the feminist movement. The feminist movement loves demonizing male behavior that it doesn't understand. And because of this, they are losing young boys at a rapid rate. Young boys don't want to go to college because they feel like colleges are feminist institutions. And quite frankly, I say stop going to college because the way that they inflated these prices, y'all need to set them back and they need to start lowering things. That's supply and demand 101, right? But again, just because it's not your way, both male, female, doesn't matter. Just because it's not your way doesn't mean it's incorrect. That's a life lesson.
Really being said, and what really should be said is, I insert name of woman who's in relationship with man does not like the way this man shows his emotion. And that man should be able to say, I don't want to show it the way you want me to show it. Can you deal with it? If the answer is no, go your separate ways. But do not blame men at large and say we are toxic. And don't ever fix your mouth to basically say, oh no, I want a man to be the head of the household. So you want us to be like our daddies, but not act like our...
This man's spitting straight facts. What did I say?
Cook it.
I can't remember the actual clip, the actual video that I was reacting to. But what it comes down to is this. Why don't you do things like us? We do things the right way. You don't do it like how we do it. Therefore, it's wrong. This idea that men aren't emotional or men don't communicate or men don't do this. No, we just don't do it like women do it. We do it in a different way. That's bad because our way is the best way. It's quite narcissistic.
The only people in tribe relationships who are genuinely living soft lives are the men who are married to the women, because all they have to do is work and then they can come home, fridge is fully stocked, dinner's cooked, kids are taken care of, all they have to do is conceive them. Like, they just don't have to do.
What the hell is working a soft life? Where do they get this nonsense from? And again, sometimes I have this belief that because women see the world the way that they see it or the way that they live, they look at the world as through their own eyes and not through everyone else's. They don't walk in other people's shoes, so they don't understand, especially not men, right? Work is not easy for most men. It's not. Hell, even let's say the corporate America, because first of all, physical jobs are the hardest jobs there are. I don't care what these people tell you. I've done both. I've done physical and I currently do corporate, but I do something of physical from time to time. The physical job is harder. Trust me on that. But I think what they do is, since they don't do the physical jobs, they think their job is simple, even though they love saying things like I'm swamped, right? Because corporate people love using that term, even though they have time to talk around the water cooler and go through 500 trainings a year. If you got all that time for training, that means you're not working. If you're not working, that means you're not working that hard. right? You don't see construction workers going through training every 5 freaking weeks, every 5 days. You understand what I'm saying? So, what was I getting at? I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so because their jobs are so simple and so easy to do, because most of the time it's just thinking and talking and coordinating and charting things down, they think everybody's job is easy. And I remember my one guy I know, he retired now, so he's been in the game for a long time, and he told me his wife believed he didn't do anything but play golf in his business meetings. And it's like, okay, let her think that, right? But I think because they don't do much, they think that men don't do much. And that's just not true. Most men's jobs aren't corporate. Most men's jobs are physical. They keep infrastructure going. So it is, in fact, hard. The fact that she really thought that men just be living a soft life by working, man, that put me on this rant real quick. Good Lord. Yo, what's good with this? Yo, what is good with all these people audio? Why this ain't got no audio?
Empathy. I think when people think of providers, they think like all these guys are like working these super kosher jobs, chilling. They're just chilling. When in reality, the majority of the providers work very, very long hours in jobs that, truck driver jobs. Jobs that aren't glamorous, jobs that are taxing, jobs that take a lot out of you mentally and physically. The idea that providing for a woman and a family with your one income, all that pressure on you, is a soft life. Again, #feminism.
And you have to understand how foolish that is, because don't single mothers complain that they don't get help? So they know they should know and understand that doing it all by yourself is harder than doing it with help. That pressure is a mother, right? That pressure to succeed sucks, and it can kill you. It can cause stress. But it's weird that they think that way simply because it's a man, and I guess he just has to deal with it. But I guess his life is easier as well. I don't. It's a weird mentality. They think men should endure all the pain in the world, but at the same time, they also believe that men don't go through stuff. So I don't get it.
One of the biggest reasons why I didn't want to leave my husband is because my child doesn't like me. He's always preferred his dad. And I just got him back after him being at his dad's for 3 days, and his dad is staying with his parents. There are 6 adults in that house and 4 children, none of whom have ever met my child because they didn't want to. They don't consider me part of their family, so neither is my child. But he was there for 3 days while I looked at apartments so I could do it in peace, and I just got him back, and he didn't even want to come to me. He looked so disappointed. He screamed the whole way home. The whole way, screaming, kicking, and he said he doesn't want to live with me, that he wants to live with his grandma and his auntie and his dad, and just he doesn't want to be with me. Then he had another meltdown for the last hour. He finally fell asleep after I gave him 3 doses of a sleeping medication. He normally takes 2, but he got an extra because he doesn't sleep, and he just screamed and kicked and ran around in circles and threw things and screamed at me that he wants to live with his dad and he doesn't want me. And I asked his father if his mother had said anything to the tune of, "You're going to live with us," and he swears up and down that she didn't. I can't do this. I can't do this alone because I don't have any reprieve from it when he's having these meltdowns. I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna have some.
Here's the thing. I'm like, yo, she drugging her kid, but she says he normally takes it. I mean, she could still be drugging him. But here's the thing. She might be missing a few things. And here's the sad truth. As women, most women think that they're great mothers, which is not true. It's just not true. So when you think that you're great and you learn that your kid wants something else, it has to be heartbreaking. It has to kill you a bit. And she also mentioned something about the other side not wanting him and all this other stuff. I'm like, I don't think that's true. Obviously, if he went over there and had such a great time, they clearly liked the child. But I want to throw this out there because a lot of women have a poor habit of doing it. And Texas recently made a law, a 3 strikes law, for when they do this. It's called parental alienation. And what they do is they love trying to pretend like the other parent doesn't like or want the kid. And sometimes these clowns tell the children that, and the kids internalize it, and it destroys the relationship they have with their father. But it seems like she finally let the boy go with his father, and the boy had the time of his life so much so he didn't want to go back. And it makes sense. Why would he want to be in the house by himself alone with you when he could be in another house with other kids, possibly close to his age, with more family? And I'm going to tell you, as a man who grew up with a single mother, sometimes when you have to deal with your mother, when she's not feeling it, when she's emotional, and she's the only parent, it's hell, especially for a young boy. Like, I don't want to deal with emotions, period. And I got to deal with yours because you're my mother. So something about her story's not adding up to me, but whatever.
Empathy here. Society has conditioned women into believing that they're like the primary parent and the child is actually theirs, when in reality it's not, and the idea of a primary parent, it shouldn't even exist. I can understand that there may be a different kind of bond emotionally when it comes to women and their children, as women carry that child in them. The bond is a little bit different. However, keep the child up, okay? Give the child up. Be a part-time parent. See the kid on the weekends. It's better off for the child. Statistically, and also in your case, it's kind of just where the child wants to be. You'll still be there. But it's okay for women to give their child to the father, especially if you know it's gonna be more beneficial to him. And by him, I mean your child. He has a support system, right? We know it's difficult for women when they become single moms or after divorce, when it comes to working, because they have to juggle the two. Now you're a part-time parent, so you can focus on getting a job, getting your money up. Maybe when the child gets older, he realizes, that is actually my mom. I do want to spend more time with her. Starts to do 50-50. I'll give that child up.
All right, so I'll close it out here. I think feminists did a number on a lot of women. I think it destroyed a lot in society. I think it does have its place, and it should. I'm glad it taught women that they are capable of doing things. But I think women already knew that they were capable. They just didn't see it. So there's good and bad of everything. I feel sorry for the older lady. I mean, she just sounded like she was just a horrible person. I don't know if feminism taught her that, but I mean, do better. Teach the youth. That's always been my thing. If you fail, teach the ones who come after you so that they don't make the same mistakes. It's not rocket science. It's not that difficult. We can make the world better if we take little steps now. If we wait too long, we may go past the point of no return. That's my fear. All right. Well, that was a good one. Lighthearted. I'm glad to be back, and I will holla at y'all later. Thanks for listening to the Center Ground Podcast. We'll be back soon with some more great content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. We are in a new channel, and growth is essentially our main objective. So send us an email at centerground.pod@gmail.com with any ideas or clips you would like for us to review. This was definitely fun, and I'd say let's do it again. But before you go, always remember, greatness lives somewhere within you. Just make sure you're taking the time to find the key to unlock that greatness. Until we meet again, I'll see you soon.